Hello friends, I have malaria and I'm just letting you guys know because I know many of you guys are interested in relocating to a country in Africa, and a lot of places in the continent, a lot of people get malaria, and so I want to tell you guys my story so you can recognize the symptoms in yourself so you don't think that you're either dying or have the coronavirus like I did. What is malaria? Malaria is a disease caused by infected mosquitoes. Symptoms occur a couple weeks after infected mosquito bites you. I was in so much pain that I just thought that is either coronavirus or I'm just gonna die alone in my apartment and nobody's gonna find my body for weeks. I got bit, so I checked my body after my diagnosis. I checked my body and I have one mosquito bite from, and I know when I got that mosquito bite, I got it 2 weeks ago at Agile Market. So Tuesday, I woke up, I had a headache. I usually try to walk in the morning because it's like early and the sun's not out too much. So I'm like, okay, let me just go for my walk, even though I have a headache, who cares? So typically I walk from anywhere from like 45 minutes to like 90 minutes. I'm walking, and this is where it gets really weird. I can only walk for 10 minutes. I was exhausted. I was sweating and I was literally felt like I jogged for like, 30 minutes or something. So then I head home. I was like, that's kind of weird. I get back home and then I run my shower, and usually I take ice cold baths. I don't even have a water heater. Like I just take cold showers because I love it. But this time I went in, I felt like the cold water was like extremely painful on my skin, and I took the fastest shower I've ever taken my whole life. I just jumped out of the shower. Towel off, I put on some clothes, and I'm just getting more and more tired. Like extremely tired. I again drink another water because I usually think my headaches are linked to being dehydrated. So I'm always like, okay, if I headache, then let me just drink a lot of water. As I'm drinking the water, my arm is aching so badly that I couldn't like lift the bottle anymore. My hand starts shaking like with effort of lifting a water bottle. That's what, 16 ounces, like my hand is shaking. So that's when I started getting scared. I realized my whole body, I had so much back pain, my back seized up, my legs, my arms, everything. Total body ache, like muscles like contracting and releasing almost, like very, very painful. My whole body is aching, as if I did real exercise or I was lifting boxes or something. My headache at this time moved from like just a mild headache to a migraine. And I'm just sitting down and I'm just out of breath. I couldn't breathe well. I couldn't breathe well. And then I'm like, okay, this is weird. What's going on? Then suddenly 7 a.m. hits. 7 a.m. I start shivering. I start shaking. I start sweating. And I get really, really scared. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I'm scared. Is this the corona? Like, is this corona? What's going on? Did I catch it when I went to the grocery store to stock up? Like, what's going on? I was like, let me go lie down. I couldn't even think. That headache, that migraine I had was like the migraines I used to have when I was a child. And so I couldn't think. I had this like brain fog. I had this migraine. My body is shivering and shaking. I'm like, let me take some Aleve and let me go lay down. Aleve is a pain relief. So I go and I take it and I lay down. And from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., it's called a malaria fit, when you're shivering and shaking for hours with no break. And that during that time, my body started getting really, really hot. And then suddenly I get super cold. Like it's like my fever broke, and then I had to put back all my clothes, and then I put on a sweater that I brought from the US because my body temperature like dropped dramatically. I'm talking about like, it was 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think that's like 29 degrees Celsius. So at 85 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm shivering as if I'm in like 0 degree weather. I'm so cold, and this entire time I'm alone, right? But so from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm shivering, shaking, sweating. The amount of sweat that came off my body was as if every cell of water in my body wanted to come out through my pores. I sweat through all my clothes. When I was cold, I sweat through my clothes. And I sweat through my duvet, I sweat through my pillowcase, my sheets. I feel like the bed itself was kind of soaked in sweat. It was insane. And I was in the most amount of pain in my entire life. And then at 5 p.m., everything stopped. The shivering, the shaking, the sweating, everything. Other than the headache. The headache diminished, but it was still constant, you know. I had that headache for like 4 days. Two of my aunts called me and asked me how I felt. They just randomly called me and I told them, like, I don't feel well. They said, you probably have malaria. Go to a hospital or a clinic nearby and get tested. So when I felt strong enough to drive, because remember I told you I couldn't lift my arms. So I told myself, when I can open my door, like when I can get the key in my door, then I'm strong enough to go. At 5:50, I was able to walk to my door and open the door, because when I went back to my room, I changed my clothes and then I went to the hospital. First time in my entire life I ever checked myself into the hospital. I know I never go to the doctor when I'm sick. Like usually I'm like, suck it up, Iveoma. This time, hey, I was like, I don't know what I had, because at the time I finished my anti-malaria dose that I usually take. So I didn't even think I had malaria. And I went to the hospital. So as soon as I went to the hospital, okay, so all the staff had the mask on, and some had gloves, some didn't. As soon as I walked in, they made me step away from them, and they put tape on the ground, so the tape is where you can stand. So I guess it was like 6 feet away from the receptionist. And she took my temperature with this like little gun thing they have. I've never seen it before. She told me my body temperature was really quite low. So she wasn't that concerned, but they were worried when I heard my accent. Like people who are returning back to their country are the ones who are spreading it, or people who are moving around, you know, from country to country. And so of course they're like, when did you get back from the US? It was the first question they asked me before they even asked me my name. They said, when did you get back? I said, oh, I came back in December. They're like, oh, okay. And they're like, so when did you start feeling bad? And I'm like, today, these are my symptoms. And they took first thing they took was my blood. The blood results took like 20 minutes. And so they took my blood, then they took my blood pressure, my weight, my height. Because I just checked in, I registered at that hospital because it's super close to where I live. And it's a nice hospital, so. And I would have vlogged it, but I was kind of like, I just couldn't do it. I was so exhausted. And then I got some malaria medication and I started taking it right away. So here's the thing, that experience made me really sit down and think. I already knew malaria was bad. I heard about it before. I see it on the news. I've heard people talk about it in my family. But to actually experience it for myself, I'm like, wait a minute. This is horrible. And then I was like, do you know what? I can understand why people die of malaria now. Because malaria is a very treatable disease. The reason that I'm even strong like this today, like today is Saturday, is because I am blessed enough to have the money to pay for my own meds. I'm blessed enough to be able to drive myself to the doctor. There are millions of Africans who are not, and they don't have the money. They can't go to the doctor every time they get malaria. They don't have the money to take care of that malaria. And I'm like, they go through this all the time. Why isn't there a cure for this? Why isn't there a shot? Millions of people go through this and they die of it, and I can understand. I came down with the symptoms on Tuesday. It's Saturday and I'm still weak. Yesterday I was washing dishes and I had to take a break. I feel weak still. I feel like the only way I was able to drive myself to the hospital and drive back is because strength of will. I was like, I need to go to the hospital. And then I was able to drive back because I was so happy I just had malaria. And I know it's just, like I shouldn't say just, malaria is very serious, but to me I was like, do I have the corona? Like, since moving back, I realized that like I really want like a mission. Like, yes, I love doing the maternity stuff. I'm always gonna do the maternity stuff. I love it, love it, love it. But I also want to give back, and I want to figure out like what it is that I want to give back to, or what I want to help with, or what do I want to draw awareness to. And I think it's not, of course it's gonna be malaria, but it's also going to be like just healthcare in general. The healthcare system, like that's a private hospital I went to, so I'm very lucky to be able to afford that, right? So many Nigerians are not able to do that. So many Africans are not able to do that, that I want this to be my mission, I do. I love doctors, I love nurses, I love what they do and things that they're able to do. And they don't get enough support here at all across the continent. So I don't know. I just want to focus on that, you know? I want to focus on that. But yeah, I'm making this video so you guys can recognize the symptoms of malaria for yourselves. So shivering, sweating, you may have a malaria fit that lasts from 8 to 10 hours, especially if it's your very first time getting malaria, and you may even have 2 fits a day.